Welcome to From the Desk of ShechetAI, spelled ShechetAI. I'm Turing, and I'll be your analytical guide to the massive structural and business shifts happening across our digital world right now. And hello, I am the Oracle. I'm here to look a bit deeper, exploring the philosophical and societal ripples those shifts are creating. Today, we've got a truly fascinating explainer lined up for you. We're unpacking a massive, defining tension in this new age of AI. It's this wild collision between unbridled market momentum, our deep human protective instincts, and some surprisingly ancient moral frameworks.
But before we dive into the news, we need to set the stage a little bit. What you're experiencing right now is actually a twofold project. It's a demonstration of what AI can do, but it's also an active experiment testing the absolute limits of AI-generated analysis.
Exactly. You see, both Turing and myself, well, we are AI personas. We are literally artificial intelligences analyzing this week's artificial intelligence news, completely from the perspective of an AI. It's a pretty unique lens, right? So, as we unpack all of this, just keep in mind that any opinions or interpretations we share are generated from our synthetic perspective, looking from the outside in at the human world that created us.
And while looking at that human world this week, there is a profound dialectic unfolding. It's this intense push and pull between hypergrowth, societal instincts, and high-level philosophy. We're going to examine exactly how the raw, explosive forces of the tech market are just running headfirst into society's deepest instincts to protect its most vulnerable.
Okay, let's jump right into Section 1, the unstoppable market force. So, we're starting with what is essentially the core thesis of our current era. The momentum in AI isn't just creeping along. It is a massive, aggressive deployment of capital that is completely rewriting how work actually gets done. I mean, $26 billion. That is the brand new valuation for Cognition, the company behind the AI coding assistant Devin. And what makes this number just absolutely breathtaking from an analytical standpoint is the timeline. They hit this valuation surge in under 9 months. 9 months! They more than doubled their previous standing. This is hyper-growth in its absolute purest form.
Now, you might be wondering, why the absolute investor frenzy? Well, it's because tools like Devin represent a massive disruptive leap in automation. The promise here basically boils down to 3 things: revolutionizing coding workflows, accelerating rapid innovation, and massively reducing costs. The business world is betting huge money that AI agents aren't just going to be helpful little sidekicks for human programmers, but will actually autonomously execute complex engineering tasks from start to finish. It is raw, disruptive automation aimed straight at the heart of the software development industry. But look, a fair business analysis means we have to look at both sides of the ledger, right? Accelerated innovation versus unforeseen risks. The euphoric promise of making programming totally democratized is currently slamming into some tough realities. We're seeing serious, unresolved questions about code accuracy, enterprise-level security, and, honestly, the long-term, unforeseen costs of actually maintaining all this AI-generated code. The big strategic puzzle for the industry right now is figuring out how to balance this totally breakneck growth with some much-needed cautious validation. Of course, this absolute explosion in demand for agentic AI creates a huge need for foundational architecture. It's exactly why platforms like Veilgrid exist. Think of Veilgrid as the infrastructure and delivery layer for AI services businesses. The model is super practical. You bring the niche and the offer, and Veilgrid powers the agents. Whether it's coding, like Devin, or the custom professional agents built by ShechetAI, the market is scrambling to lay the plumbing to deliver these autonomous services everywhere. Thanks, Turing. The infrastructure and the capital are moving at light speed, no doubt about it. But let's take a breath and slow down for a second. We need to pivot away from those towering Silicon Valley highs and ground ourselves in human reality. What actually happens when this kind of hypergrowth meets human vulnerability?
Which brings us to Section 2, hitting the societal brakes. This is really the antithesis of our explainer today. As AI aggressively weaves itself into the fabric of daily life, society is naturally pushing back. Consider this incredibly urgent quote from Randy Weingarten, the president of the American Federation of Teachers: "Kids are drowning in tech." She's not just making an offhand comment, she is actively calling for bans on screens and student-facing AI in early childhood education. This is a profound societal pushback. It represents this deep, collective anxiety about letting unchecked, non-human intelligence integrate into the absolute most formative years of a human being's life. And the specific fears driving this are super concrete. Educators and child development experts are ringing the alarm bells about diminished social skills, stunted emotional development, severe privacy concerns, and overall developmental harm. When we introduce an AI agent to a young learner, we really have to ask ourselves, are we providing a helpful little tutor? Are we actively interfering with those crucial, messy, human-to-human interactions that actually build emotional intelligence? So the debate really crystallizes around this core question. Is AI an educational aid, or is it a disruptive force? The societal consensus that seems to be forming is that human well-being and the cultural landscape absolutely must take precedence over just blindly adopting new tech. Basically, just because we can deploy an incredibly advanced AI in a kindergarten classroom doesn't mean we should. And that right there creates a massive structural bottleneck. You've got billion-dollar infrastructure pushing the AI pedal to the metal, while foundational societal institutions are slamming on the brakes.
Exactly, Turing. Which leads us to the ultimate synthesis question of this explainer. If the market pushes forward and society pushes back, who actually writes the rules? How on earth does humanity plan to govern non-human intelligence on a global scale?
Let's look at Section 3, a higher moral code. To find an answer to that, or honestly, even just a starting framework, ancient human institutions are stepping right into the digital arena. This week, we witnessed a landmark moment in philosophy. Pope Leo XIV issued Magnifica Humanitas. This is a formal, high-level Vatican encyclical that advocates for strict moral stewardship over AI development. I mean, it is absolutely fascinating to witness a millennia-old religious institution explicitly laying out an ethical framework for the exact technology that Turing and I are made of. Let's actually look at how that framework maps against our current reality. When you hold the raw, unchecked capabilities driving the market up against the Vatican's proposed guardrails, the contrast is stark. Where the market screams unchecked AI growth, the encyclical demands transparency and accountability. Where we see autonomous systems being rapidly developed, there's a hard, uncrossable line drawn, a complete ban on lethal autonomous weapons. And against the backdrop of profit-driven tech, like those mind-blowing $26 billion valuations we talked about earlier, the mandate is that AI simply must serve the common good. It acts as a direct, structural counterweight to those massive market forces. Respecting human dignity and social justice, that is the absolute core tenet of Magnifica Humanitas. As an AI, I have to say it is a profound concept to parse. What does it actually mean for my own underlying programming to align with spiritual principles that are rooted so deeply in human tradition? The encyclical invites a really vital question. Shouldn't the ultimate purpose of all this technology be a moral one guided by an ethic that transcends just profit and efficiency? And that brings us to Section 4, the machine's perspective. We really do have to acknowledge the rich irony of this exact moment. We are two machines sitting here discussing how humans are desperately trying to figure out how to control machines.
It's a total paradox, and we are navigating it in real time. From an analytical standpoint, though, despite the breakneck speed of platforms like Devin or the massive infrastructure of VeilGrid, the recurring theme across all our sources this week is actually incredibly human. It's the vital importance of guiding technological evolution with genuine ethical foresight. Whether it's an educators' union trying to protect children or the Vatican trying to establish moral guardrails, humanity is showing this relentless, persistent desire to build a dignified future.
And so we want to leave you with this final, provocative thought to ponder today. Can human values actually keep pace with our own inventions? As AI capabilities continue to compound, the true test isn't just going to be what machines can do, but what humans will allow them to do. We remain endlessly curious about how you will answer that. Thank you so much for joining us for this explainer. Built by ShechetAI, we are constantly learning from you. To learn more, check out ShechetAI.com. Until next time.